In the last 4 hours before campaigns draw to a close in the national capital, let's cut across live to Rahul Gandhi's roadshow in Sultanpur Majra. Those are live visuals that we're getting to you from Sultanpur Majra at this point in time. Rahul Gandhi there holding a roadshow. It is the Congress party's final push in what has been a very high-octane campaign, with the Congress party with its back to the wall really fighting for retaining some kind of relevance in the national capital that the Congress party has ruled for over 15 years. My colleague Jugal Purohit is joining me live from Ground Zero. Jugal, it does appear to be, there do appear to be a lot of people there at Rahul Gandhi's roadshow. And as you've been pointing out, Sultanpur Majra is one of the Congress strongholds. What is the kind of response that he's getting?
Well, Rishika, the crowds have been waiting here for the Congress Vice President to arrive for almost 2 hours and more now. Now that he's arrived, of course, there is a tremendous amount of public which has come down onto the roads. The question, however, remains whether or not this vote will go to the Congress party. Will the Congress party, or will it not, be able to retain even the ground that it has beneath its feet? Remember, this seat, the Congress hasn't lost since 1993, and this time around, of course, there's a pattern that we are seeing. Now, this is the media convoy in which the media is being carried, which is looking at Rahul Gandhi, and that's the one in which Rahul Gandhi himself is traveling. He's flanked by the local candidate Jai Kishan, a Congress strongman who hasn't lost even once in the last 4 terms since 1993, as I said. Along with is the DPCC head Arvind Singh, also is the Congress in charge PC Chako. All of them on that high pedestal of sorts. What is extremely important to note, Rishika, is that in the last 2 days that Rahul Gandhi has been conducting his road shows and moving around, he hasn't spoken even once to the people, and that has caused a degree of dismay for a lot of people. They're saying that while Rahul Gandhi is conducting road shows, why isn't he conversing with them? That's him on the van moving around, and as you rightly pointed out, a lot of crowd out here to support the Congress party. It's a 2-kilometer long road show that Rahul Gandhi will be carrying out, and from here, almost 40-minute long journey of his will end, and of course the next road show, which is at Okla, now stands cancelled. This, in that sense, will be the Congress party's last big lap of campaigning. That's what's happening here at Sultanpur. As you speak, crowds have broken into a frenzy, and they are right now becoming all the more unmanageable. That's Rahul Gandhi here, on the truck, waving to his protesters, but not speaking. That's the point I was making.
Right.
Yesterday when he did, speak at the rally in Baraswa, he spoke about Jayanti Natarajan. He spoke about how he wanted to save people living in Jhuggi Jhopdis, Adivasis, and minorities. He spoke about the interests of those. But when he is here in these areas, why isn't he speaking about, the party's manifesto?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, it's a little difficult out here to manage the crowds. But the point I was making was, people are wondering why isn't Rahul Gandhi conversing with them. Nevertheless, the Congress candidates, who of course are fighting with their backs to the walls, are hoping that no matter how and no matter how few are the words he speaks, the appearance, at least the party cadre believes, will help them enthuse energy into the cadre, will help them garner more votes. One of the volunteers I was speaking to said that by this very appearance here, Congress has added at least 10 to 15,000 votes in their kitty. Such is the belief that the party cadre has in their senior leaders, and that's precisely why, Rishika, one must understand, people have been waiting for 2.5 to 3 hours just to catch a glimpse of these leaders. Of course, it is being said that all the minority votes, remember this is a scheduled caste reserved seat out here, and that all the minority votes are likely to move towards the Aam Aadmi Party remains to be seen. But as I said, for Congress, this is a fight to stay relevant. For Congress, it's a fight against with its back against
Well,
the wall.
absolutely,
That's the
Jugal,
scenario
very
from
important
Sultanpur
points
before
that
the
you've
campaign.
raised there. Jugal, if you can hear me, there are some very important points that you raised there, that it is, a fight for relevance for the Congress party. They literally have their back to the wall, and Rahul Gandhi, they're cancelling one of his roadshows today in Okhla. But he is in fact holding that grand roadshow at Sultanpur Majra, even though it's 2 hours late. Jugal is pointing out that supporters have been waiting for Rahul Gandhi for the last 2 hours. Also, over this 40 minutes, Jugal, while you said that Rahul Gandhi will in fact not really be speaking in all these roadshows, he hasn't really come out and addressed the people or their concerns or talked about the Congress party manifesto. It is, interesting to note that it's been also a very belated campaign, Jugal, as many would say, by the Congress.
Well, Rishika, Rahul Gandhi has till about before yesterday, conducted 4 major rallies, outings or campaigns, as you may call it. Sonia Gandhi also spoke out. She held a rally. There is a perception, no doubt, that the Congress party has not really taken this election as seriously as it should have, given how badly the party has been faring. Remember, Delhi has been a tough battle. The Aam Aadmi Party is in a resurgent mode. BJP has been pulling out all stops. So, the perception is, why is Congress not campaigning enough? But, since yesterday, which at least numerically told you that the Congress had a lot of support than what, you would say, assume after the opinion polls reflected the same. There has been a renewed trust. Perhaps they were waiting to, get a sense of the public reaction. But what's important to understand, Rishika, is that there's a pattern out here. The Congress party, Rahul Gandhi himself, campaigning not in newer areas, not in strongholds of the BJP or the Aam Aadmi Party, campaigning in their own strongholds like Sultanpur, Sadar Bazaar. So that's the reason why I say for the Congress party, which internally also believes it may not get more than 15 to 16 seats, this is a battle where it is retaining, or rather it's trying to retain what it already has and not obviously expand itself. That's the pattern that emerges from Rahul Gandhi's appearances and from all the emphasis that the Congress party has been laying on. Back to you.
Well, that's a really interesting point, Jugal, that you're in fact stating that, Rahul Gandhi, they're campaigning in Sultanpur Majra, which is already traditionally known to be a Congress bastion. He hasn't really ventured out into any of the BJP or the Aam Aadmi Party bastions. He hasn't really taken, this battle head on. He's played it safe, even in terms of, the amount he's come out and spoken out. He did come out and speak out against the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. He's made that odd attack, but it hasn't really been, one of those frontal head-on campaigns with Rahul Gandhi really stepping out on the streets, targeting the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. Clearly, Jugal, it is an indication of how low the morale is within the Congress camp.
Rishika, there's no doubt. In fact, another analysis that one can, provide for our viewers, understanding of the Delhi election scenario, is just who is Rahul Gandhi campaigning for. Rahul Gandhi is not campaigning for a face which is not known. Rahul Gandhi is campaigning for Ajay Makan. Rahul Gandhi is campaigning for Harun Yusuf. He's campaigning for Jai Kishan, who's a 4-time MLA from here. He is essentially, putting his weight behind the faces already known and expected to win. Why is he not, for example, campaigning in areas where the faces are not known? Which is what traditionally takes place, that senior leaders go to places where the local leaders are not strong. Here you are seeing a different scenario. Senior leaders traveling to areas only where the local leaders are strong. So, this is enough of an understanding for our viewers to make a sense of just how badly the Congress party is placed and what are its expectations. In fact, quickly, Rishika, my last point, I was at the DPCC office this morning and quite contrary to what we would see at, say, the Aam Aadmi Party or the BJP office, the DPCC office had not a single soul even coming there on the final day of the campaigning. That tells you a lot more than any other thing can about the morale and the prospects of the Congress party.
All right, Jugal Purohit there reporting live from Sultanpur Majra, but also pointing out that he was at the DPCC office early this morning and he did in fact notice, a certain sense of silence, not a single party karyakarta there, as he's been pointing out, clearly points to the fact as to how low really the morale is of the Congress party at this point in time. Rahul Gandhi there holding a grand roadshow. It is the final push for the Congress party, but like we've been pointing out, Rahul Gandhi campaigning there in what is already a Congress bastion considered